This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, so I was just telling you right before we started this, and I was like, oh, I should just talk about it on the podcast. I'm switching the Xbox with Sunshine's PS4 because I saw the Tekken video, and I was like, oh man, I really want to play these fighting games again, but they're not an Xbox, right? So like, that kind of sucks. But I was also thinking, because we were out yesterday, I was like, oh, why don't I just buy like the PS5 and then I could play like the new Tekken, right? And so you can get it now. Like if I order it, I'll get it in like 2 days or something like that.
Okay.
But it's $1,000.
$1,000?
Yeah. Okay. See, looking at your face, you're like, wait, what? So that's what was shocking to me. And we were like talking about tipping and stuff. We'll get into that in a second. But like inflation's kind of weird that like, I was like, I'm not going to drop $1,000 for a system. Like that's so expensive. Yeah. And there's like bundles now.
Which store
Best Buy
was
and Walmart.
Really?
Yeah, yo. So I was like, why is this so expensive now?
Like, was it like with extra controllers or?
No, there's a bundle. It was like $1,300 if you want 2 controllers or a second controller.
$1,300?
Yeah, dude. So I was like, why is this so expensive now? Like,
wait, and was that the disc one?
I don't even know.
Okay.
I just I was like Googling it as we were driving.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think you paid that much. Like,
No, I didn't pay. No,
exactly.
It was like 7.
Yeah, 7. I was expecting
at
7.
most maybe like closer to 800, maybe.
Like with tax, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was thinking like, okay, maybe that's like that's what I was like willing to spend.
And this was the expensive version in the sense it's with the disc.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So it was about $100 less, I think, for the digital one.
So I wasn't sure, or maybe she was Googling the wrong thing. I'm glad you're Googling it right now. But
I'm just on Amazon, but I don't see the price on Amazon.
No, she's on Walmart and Best Buy.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, all right. You check that. I guess we could have fact checked this off air, but I was pretty shocked. And if it is true that it was like $1,000, it's like, dude, why is everything going up so much?
Oh yeah,
it's $1,000.
Yeah. And I see the Loblaws one saying 999.99.
Yeah. Okay. So what the hell, right? So I remember when you bought it like 3 years ago or something, or 2 years ago, whenever it came out.
Yeah, when it came out.
Yeah, and it was like not $1,000. So is this inflation? No. Like, is this the lack of parts? Like, what's going on?
It's inflation.
It's inflation?
Yeah, it's inflation.
Dude, all right. So
I think that they recently, I'm not sure if that already happened. I guess this may be from what happened, that they already said they're increasing the price of the PS5.
Oh, they said that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's due to the inflation, due to parts, due to whatever, right? All that stuff.
Oh, okay. So when I saw the 1,000, I was like, why would anyone buy a freaking PS5 now? Just go back to the PS4. Like, you could still, like, I don't see like the hurdle of dropping $1,000 on a system is like way too much. Even the original Xbox, when it first came out, like it was $500. My parents were kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I want to buy you an Xbox. It was $500. But you know, like whatever, they just bought it for me. Even like the first PlayStation, when it first came out, I bought that one. That was like $200. And that was a hard sell for my parents as well. They were kind of like, oh, okay, fine. Mm-hmm. You know, but like, imagine being a kid now and being like, I want a PS5. It's $1,000.
Yeah.
Like, who's buying this thing? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That means I could sell it higher from what I bought it.
Yeah, well, I guess so.
Technically.
But you're not going to sell it.
No,
right?
no.
Yeah, exactly. So
I see here eBay.
yeah, people are selling it on.
No, where was it? eBay, something like $8.99 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So Sunshine was looking at. She said Costco too was around the 800 mark.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be cheaper there, but just like I don't know. My question is like, who is buying this now? Like, who can possibly afford this kind of
Well, we'll
system?
know by these, whatever those quarter numbers, right? Quarterly numbers.
Okay, yeah, true. But also it's like what kind of cost are you incurring just to play a game now? You know, like the barrier to entry is so high.
Yeah.
I feel like as a kid, how can you ask your parents for $1,000 system? Because it's not just the system, right? You need another controller, and then you need games.
Yeah.
So like all in, you're looking at maybe 1,500. You
Yeah.
know, maybe more.
Yeah.
Because like game prices are also going up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, whoa, where are we headed in this like video game world? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
before, it used to be a fun addition to your home system. Now it's kind of like you really have to decide if you want it.
Yeah. But it's still very, like PS5 is still in the early ages. I don't think it's going to take a while for it
But
to.
it's still like 3 years or whatever. Like I don't remember any system.
No, but even though it's like 3 years, I think it like the first year when it came out was in the pandemic, so that like it really was. It sold a lot, but
No,
not
for sure. No,
like percentage wise, right?
For sure, but I'm just thinking about like the history of video games, like the first consoles, and like now we're at $1,000. It's like, whoa, it's pretty high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And unless like maybe they create some sort of streaming service, that would make sense to me. It's like you just drop the 1,000 and then you get like access to their
Yeah. So I don't know
servers.
what kind of.
No, I'm sure
I don't
that's
know.
not what it is.
Huh?
I'm sure that's not what it is. Like the $1,000, like
Yeah. I don't know. What kind of thing they're doing with that, but
you also have to pay for like live too, right? Like to play online.
yeah.
Yeah. So like, what the heck, man? We're really like this kind of goes back to the whole divide between rich and poor, middle class. You know, remember like last week's podcast we were talking about like there's kind of more and more of a divide. Like you even see it with video games now. Like this used to be I don't know, just like a pastime. Now it's an investment. Like you have obviously not an investment because you're not going to sell it, but like you have to think of it like, do I really want to buy this? Because you can't just buy like one game. You're gonna have to keep buying games, so you're kind of locked in. You know, how much is the Xbox going for? I'm actually curious. Like,
I know the Xbox talked about it, but they did not want to increase their price.
Oh, okay.
That's what I heard. Let me check. What is it called? Series X.
Is it?
There's two versions, right? Series S and Series X.
But there's no good games for it. That's the only problem. It's like
it's only Halo.
Yeah.
And they're not even doing co-op. What I hear.
You have to play like, because I want to play like Tekken and like all this, but when I saw those prices, I'm like, let me just go back to the original like PS4. I can't justify in my mind $1,000 for a video game system.
Right. So this is Series X, I guess the flagship. This is from Best Buy. I think it's .ca. Yeah. $599.
Okay, so that's like more reasonable. $599 is like okay.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think the PS5 was already higher than the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, but now it's almost double.
Yeah.
It's like wow, that's pretty expensive. I feel like if I were to buy the new one, I would have to play it all the time to justify that expense.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I mean?
they have like what if Sony's doing this thing like a different PlayStation Plus kind of thing.
Okay.
Where it's a little bit more money, but you're getting other games as well with that. So that's why I was like, you saw me with the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I didn't buy that.
Oh, it's free.
Well, it's with the
PlayStation Plus.
PlayStation Plus thing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And there was a bunch of other Yakuza games
Oh yeah.
that came with that, and it's not just that Assassin's Creed. There was some older Assassin's Creeds too, and I think they're working with the Ubisoft Plus, so whatever they have under that category.
Yeah, I wonder where it almost feels like a transitionary period of like where they're gonna settle on gaming. You know what I mean? Because like
I think that eventually that it is going to be like, instead of buying a new game, they'll have to come to that monthly thing. But
yeah, like streaming, like Netflix. Or
yeah,
something.
yeah. And I think like Xbox started that, right? With that all access thing. I forgot what.
I don't know how I feel about that though, because like we were talking about the games album, right? Like if I had bought a physical CD, you can't just delete a song off of like Spotify or Apple, right? But like if they remove it from the PlayStation Store, it's like, oh, I can't play that game anymore.
Yeah,
but if I have
so that did happen.
Oh, it
with
did
the
happen.
with the demo called it's a PT something, I think it was. It was PT Silent Hills or whatever. That demo that was there.
Yeah, they removed it.
They removed the demo because the contract ended or something happened.
See, that's annoying.
With whatever. But if you already had downloaded it, you still have it.
Okay, that's actually
like if it was saved in your
system.
In your system, or I think in your like under your account.
Okay, that's good. Like I do like the Apple model for like Apple Music because, well, not really Apple. It's not Apple Music. Sorry, it's Apple Podcasts. If I download a podcast that's no longer available, it's still saved onto my phone. So like Joe Rogan isn't on Apple anymore. He's exclusively Spotify. But I had these old saved podcasts on there, and I could still access them. So if you do like that for the video game, like you were just saying,
yeah, it was something like that.
Seems okay.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much I trust the digital world. It's almost like when they're talking about like cryptocurrency, not the.
Well, basically everything that we're doing digitally or like all that is just another word for renting.
Right? Yeah, right, and it goes back to the you'll own nothing and be happy, right?
Yeah.
The new was it the Great Reset?
Yeah, but it's like it's philosophy. There's give and take, right? So like me playing Assassin's Creed, I didn't have to spend $50 for that game.
No,
right. There's like there's a give and take here. Do I really care?
For sure. But sometimes it's like it almost seems like not real. And what I mean by that is like if the server goes down, you lost all your games.
Yeah.
But if the server's down, I could still play video games on my console.
So there was like issues like that even before, where like the EA all access thing was like I think I forgot which game it was, but it was like where their servers went down, nobody had access because you can't even go into the game unless it connects to the internet.
See, exactly. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that's happening everywhere because that's kind of like lively. It is what's the word, like live, like checking that it's a legitimate copy, right? Remember before,
so it's
like
not pirated. Yeah. But so I wonder where we're headed with that, because it's almost like you will own nothing and you'll be happy, but it is like it's like not real. Do you know what I'm saying? Like before we used to have like physical CDs, like it's like this is mine, and like now it's almost like if there was a solar flare, we'd lose everything.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the whole
like digital.
Yeah, but that was that movie.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
Yeah. What was it? The blackout.
The blackout. Yeah. Of whatever year, but like that's.
Yeah, and you're really seeing like the detriment of this now, like with the. I don't know. It kind of freaked me out with the price of the console, because I'm like, so who's buying this? Or are you going to like more debt to buy this? I don't understand. Like, because obviously the ones who are gonna want to buy it are the kids, right? Like, we have it, right? Like you have it, but like, if you think about the market, kids are gonna want to buy a system and then be like with their friends, be like, oh, I have the PS5 too, right?
Yeah.
You go to school and they're like, oh, I was playing this PS5 game.
But I think
it's
a bit different. PS5, it's a bit different, like as in we grew up as kids as consoles became big.
Yeah.
So those, or people that are our age now, have kids.
Yeah.
So they are like, it's more of
so like two people want to buy it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Okay, there's that joke a bit where he's like, he wanted his son to buy a specific item.
Yeah, so it's like you're buying it for the kid, but at the same time you're buying it for yourself.
Yeah, no, totally, I agree with that.
I feel like that's happening too.
No, it 100% is, but like $1,000 is a lot, and that's just like starting now. Like, what's the next console going to be like? $2,000?
So eventually, so this was the whole thing. Like, even when PS4 was ending, the question that people were asking is, when does consoles end.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
I think we talked about that
eventually,
before.
yeah, probably we did, because that was the thing at the time. So either this is one of the last consoles
Oh, interesting.
to be,
Okay.
or maybe there was one more.
Okay.
Because everything's going digital. So you don't really need a console to access it. You can access
True.
it through like your TV,
Steam.
like a TV app, or like
No, like you know,
yeah,
Steam?
that's what Steam is trying to do. Yeah,
Yeah, you just need a controller.
yeah. Not Steam. No, there was a Google one.
No, but
Google.
Steam, you can do that too, right? You just download onto
No,
your
no, but
computer.
Steam is like a PC thing. Like that's a digital
yeah, yeah.
store, but
Right,
like
but
you
I
have to
meant,
have you have to have the PC to play it on.
But-
What I'm saying is
right.
like
No, but you'll still need something to play it on.
yeah, but you don't need but you need the hardware, right? You don't need the hardware if it's like a TV app. The hardware is just the TV,
No,
not the
right.
console hardware.
No, but for Steam, it can't any computer use Steam?
No, not necessarily. No. I mean, the game still requires hardware, right? It's just the digital store.
Like a hardware like requirements.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're
So
saying.
what I'm saying was it's cloud based.
Yeah.
So you're just accessing the cloud and then playing it.
Like Netflix.
Yeah, like Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to have.
You just need a controller.
You just need a controller. Yeah, that's what Google was doing.
Oh.
Google Gaming. I don't remember the name now.
That's
Google Stadia. Google Stadia.
okay.
I think that's what it was called. And that's the online thing.
That
So you're
feels
just
so weird
accessing
to
it
me.
online. Yeah.
Does it feel like
I think it's I think that probably I think that's where it's going. It's just they have to figure out the whole lag issue. Like especially with the gaming,
Yeah.
it's always about the lag.
but not just that, it's like pricing. Did we leave like a golden
I think this
era?
pricing would be cheaper, right? Because you're not getting a console. You're just paying monthly. I feel like that's what it's going to become.
Okay, totally. But I wonder, you know, I've been hearing this a lot recently. Like, we lived through the golden era. Like, people who were our age and like around our age, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger, but like around our age was the golden era for, like, I guess time, because everything was developing. So like, well, I guess it's like, what's that thing called where you can't get in trouble because it's been so many years? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, like statute of limitations.
Yes, actually, thank you. So remember I used to have like a burner, like a 2 CD burner, and then you would just go to like Dragon Mall, I think it was called, and then you just buy like burn games, or you'd rent a game, then burn the game, and then like you would work on your PlayStation. You just have to mod your PlayStation by going to Dragon Mall, you know. So like we lived during that golden era of like piracy.
Yeah,
Or, like,
that's
freedom.
piracy. Yeah.
Like freedom, I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Not
but
piracy, it is piracy, but it's like
hard.
freedom, you know.
Maybe it is in a way freedom. It's still it's theft, right? What was happening was theft, right?
For sure, it is theft, but like allegedly this happened. I'm just gonna throw that in there just in case the statute of limitations was not real. Allegedly, this happened. A lot of people did it, but now they've like really cracked down on this, where you can't really escape it. Like you're kind of locked in to that system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, so that's the thing. So their reaction, that would be that's it's an understandable reaction from them
for sure.
to do that because of the loss of revenue
Totally.
from a lot of people doing the modding thing.
But now we're hitting the zone where it's like not the golden age anymore. It's like you're locked in. It's like I liken it to, I guess, if you own a Apple, you're kind of locked into always owning an Apple. You know, it's like you're in that
that's
ecosystem. You know what I mean? It's like we're not free. It's like as we're moving more and more towards, you know, the future, it almost seems like we're being locked in more and more as well. Like the chains are really, like whether it be like debt, no ownership, friggin' like piracy, theft, flying on an airplane, like everything seems very security based now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of, but it's like, is this like a military, it's like a government, like is it like a communist government we're moving towards, you know? Like, and then they talk about like digital currency now, not crypto, but like digital currency for our money, right? You don't have, who uses paper money anymore? Really think about it.
Yeah.
You know, and they showed us with the lockdown, they can go into your bank account and freeze it. But if you had physical paper money somewhere, they can't freeze that money. Like, that's money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we're moving more and more towards the matrix. Where we're so dependent on the system and we can't live without the system.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Yeah. Does that freak you out at all? Or like...
No, I think it's just been doing this for a longer time. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Oh, what do you mean, like longer time?
No, I think... I think it's always the give and take, right? So we don't even think about Best Buy, or not Best Buy, sorry. We don't even think about Blockbuster anymore. We're having
true,
that,
like renting,
right?
Yeah.
Netflix has just made it so much easier, right?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like this is the downside of convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I think people will take convenience over.
But it's like enslaved convenience. Like everything is moving towards control for convenience. Like we're giving up control for convenience. Actually, when you put it in that kind of terms, that is kind of freaky though, because it's like, are we being lulled into a state of like, just, quiet down, control, like do your job, live out your life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no, I don't know, freedom, digital bondage, there's no freedom. Do you know what I'm saying?
But I think we've always been
but not always,
tied to society, right?
No, right. But like, in terms of onyership, it's like, if everything's digital, you really own nothing because there's nothing physical. Like all right, I guess what I'm really trying to say is we're untethering from the physical world and we're tethering to a digital world.
Yeah.
But the digital world isn't real. It's actually not real. Like digital money is just numbers going back and forth. Like the game said it. He was like, if I Venmo you $1 million compared to giving you a bag full of millions, like you're gonna feel differently about both. Because you're like, oh, like cool numbers, but like if you can physically touch something, you know what I mean?
I don't think so.
I agree with you though. I was like, $1 million's $1 million, bro. Like,
yeah,
but I get his sentiment is what I'm saying. It's like you can touch something. It's like, okay, how about this? If I
understand what you're trying to say. Like they can probably
like tactile is real.
Yeah,
If I gave you augmented reality glasses and you visually saw a watch, it's not the same as physically having a watch touching your wrist. Like there's something real about it.
Yeah. Like you can take a cash and hide it somewhere versus digital. Like, if they find you, they can lock your thing down. Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah. I understand.
Or if you have no, like, not even nothing and anything nefarious like that. Like, what if it was like you just didn't have Wi-Fi? Actually a great example, Rogers. Remember when that was down, they needed cash for everything? So it was kind of like, that's a great example of what happens when the system goes down. You realize like nothing is real. Yeah. Like even something as simple as data. So I ran out of data and I was walking over to Starbucks and pre-ordering, and I was in the hallway. Like usually I order in the hallway and then by the time I get there, it arrives. I had no data, so the app wasn't working. So I had to run back to our apartment, order it in the apartment, then run over to Starbucks. And it's like that digital dependency again. You know? I also don't have any cash on me. Like who carries cash, right? So it's like these little things where we're becoming dependent on something that's not real. Yeah. And that's like kind of freaking me out actually. As like with the $1,000 pricing, that freaked me out because I was like, it's like now we're paying more for something that's also not going to be real. Because like you could buy it without the CD drive, and then how long before they just stop making CDs? Right. Like it seems kind of a waste of money to have CDs, or even the GameSpot now, EB Games. Right. Like what's the point of that store?
Well, that's why they're shifting, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And you're like it's. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Yeah.
No, I think it's just the convenience. Convenience may weigh out. It weighs out the other stuff, right?
But it's like building a house of cards. Like, you know, like if the wind comes, it's gonna break down your whole house, rather than building like a house out of bricks.
Yeah.
Or actually, that happened with COVID. What they're saying with the supply chain, they built this whole intricate global supply chain, and then when COVID wiped everything out, they realized like, oh, we actually need a better structure.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we're running out of supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just kind of freaky. All right, anything else about that before I move on to tipping?
No, I think that's, the reactions generally will happen whenever there's an actual issue, right? So like the whole Rogers thing, them making a deal with the other providers, if one goes down, they can use the others.
But that's still digital though, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
but like that's...
What if the satellites go down? You're like, oh man.
Yeah, so there again, those are the little things that we would do if there's an actual thing that happens, right?
But what I'm freaking out about is like, do you realize you're building a house of cards? Like, what is the backup plan if this whole digital society goes under?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a reason why like physical books versus digital books, because like I have that book. It's like on my shelf. Actually, a great example, because I was trying to figure out a new watch to buy, and I was looking at the Series 8. I was like, all right, how much is this thing? Like, but then like I just can't make the conversion. That's why I keep that dead apple on my wall, to always remind me it's like this thing will die over time. Because remember, like it was like 5 years, and then they're like, yeah, there's no Apple Care for this. Like, you're just gonna have to buy a new one, where like the software could be compatible with your Apple Watch, right? Whereas like a physical watch, like they're both physical, but like an analog watch or like a mechanical watch, right? This can actually last like multiple lifetimes, you know? And that's a great example of like digital dependence and its weakness versus, because then you're dependent on the system. Every like 5 years, I'm gonna have to either buy a new Apple Watch, or like just get out of the system, you know? Unless they create something that's like forever, but you can't possibly create something that's forever because you need software updates.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, do you see my point?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of weird. Like, you kind of have to pick and choose now. You're like, what do I want to be digitally dependent on?
Yeah, that's why it's like the convenience, right? So what a mechanical watch does compared to what an Apple Watch. Again, that's...
No, for sure. Yeah. No, they do not... like, mechanical watch can't read your biometrics or anything that. Like, but it will last forever. You know? So it's like, what do you want in that case?
Yeah, so I think it depends on... like I don't wear a watch for watch sake, right? Yeah,
you're using it literally as a controller, like an external tether,
right?
You know, whereas I like the craftsmanship of the watch, so like I want something that'll last forever, essentially, you know. Yeah.
But I don't think there's a lot of people like that, right?
Well, no, there's a lot of watch enthusiasts, though. Like,
no, I'm saying like, but that's not
the majority of people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's why you see most people wearing Apple Watches.
Yeah,
right.
Or some sort of smartwatch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
because those are, that would be the majority. That's what I'm saying. The majority of people are not really a watch connoisseur kind of thing.
Totally. But these are the signs to me that are like, we're moving towards a digital dependence that it's like, what happens if it goes down? Like, or imagine like, Actually, all right. To be completely honest, one of the reasons, this sounds so stupid, one of the reasons why I'm obsessed with mechanical watches is because of the games and movies like The Last of Us. If there's an apocalyptic scenario, I know I'll still be able to tell the time. But like, everything digital will go in an apocalyptic scenario. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm thinking in terms of that, like contingencies, like what happens if this does go down, you know? Like, we would be totally, like, I guess maybe I should pull out some money and hide it somewhere. But like, would money even matter in an apocalyptic scenario? No, right?
No, I think it'd be gold.
Yeah, it'd be gold. Well, I mean, but who would even want gold, right? It would probably be like bags of rice.
Actually, it'd probably end up coming down to just trade.
Right. Yeah. Like, what am I gonna do with freaking gold, bro? Yeah. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it'll just be up to actual physical trade. Here's a rabbit I killed.
Yeah, right.
For some rice or
sure.
something. I don't know.
But then the utility of, like, you're right though. The convenience of the digital world is so enticing.
Yeah.
Right? We have everything, information at your fingertips. But the vulnerability of the digital world is what freaks me out.
Yeah.
Because it's so vulnerable. We just don't really, like, we take it so for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
but like, and if I understand. I agree with what you're saying. But if we do have that apocalyptic world, no one's surviving.
No, I'm sure people will survive. Like, what?
No.
People who,
majority is not surviving.
Oh, yeah, majority. Yeah, for sure. Totally. Yeah. But that's why maybe
it's like, I mean, because we're already living in a city. Who knows how to hunt? Who knows
for sure.
what?
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. But I wonder if maybe that's like also what's driving. Because like now that I mentioned that apocalyptic scenario, maybe that's also why like I think I like things like martial arts. Because like if things went south, I would know how to defend myself. Because like in a society like this, we don't need that. You actually don't need martial arts.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into a fight.
Mm-hmm.
But if things went south, it's like, how secure do you actually really feel?
Yeah.
Actually,
I think the main thing, but the main thing is food. If you can't get food,
no, for sure, you can kill somebody for food.
Yeah.
But I know martial arts.
I mean, like we can talk about the floods in Pakistan. Like 1/3 of Pakistan was flooded.
Really, recently?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
All that monsoon rain. I think it broke like a dam and everything. Like,
wow.
So like
that's crazy.
They need relief, right?
Okay.
So people are sending in food and things like that. Like people are acting like, I saw like a video where it's for their own family. They're holding onto the like a rice bag, and then the other ones are trying to grab it from him.
Yeah, that's so sad.
So yeah. And then now there's other issues with that, which was potential diseases to come from being in those isolated places.
Right, stagnant water. And bacteria. Yeah. See, it's so possible.
Yeah.
That could literally happen to us, but we just live in this denial of fictitious realities, like things that aren't real. Like, and maybe that's what's rubbing me the wrong way with the whole digital thing, because it's like, this isn't real, guys.
Yeah, but it's still real, right?
No, but it's real because your mind makes it real.
Yeah.
But it's not actually real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you unplugged it, it's not real. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I was telling your brother about this because I was noticing that, like, you still get nerves even if you're, when you're doing like a presentation at school. Remember back then, you get nerves, right? You're like, oh, everyone's actually physically watching me. But then I was noticing, like, oh, you also get nerves if you're doing it digitally too. Even though you're like sharing your screen and you're like talking to people, you still get nerves. And I had this like reality check moment where I was like, wait, why do you feel any emotion towards digital elves? I actually wrote that on my computer because it's like to remind myself, like, if I want to, I could just unplug this thing. I would never see them again for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah.
But the mind makes it real. Like, there's nothing physically there. They're not actually physically there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's another freaky thing. Like, we're in different time zones. Like, it's more things that aren't real that we're embedding ourselves into, like, so earnestly, but they're not real. Remember I was saying, like if you work remotely, like, you can literally have a remote job where it's like you're playing a video game all the time. They're just going to send you a computer, you just do your work on there, and then when you get fired or you quit, you give that computer back.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not real. It's really not real, And that's how I feel like we're all moving towards, like, the metaverse. It's not real.
Yeah, slowly.
NFTs. Web3, it's not real. But we place so much emphasis on it because we're told that it's real.
Yeah, it's real in today's society, right? So
it's real in today's society, but it's not physically real,
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
It's weird because it's like,
It's again, I think it's the
But it reminds me of the Matrix. That's why it's like weird.
right. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's like if you watch that movie, that's almost like a documentary. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
but that was for us. Like that was our age growing up. We watched these things, right? To see the futures of
yeah,
the calamities of a technology world.
yeah.
But nobody has that now, right? That we
People
grew
need
up with that.
But that's the golden
Like,
age that
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people were talking about. Like we
Yeah.
were in that transition.
Those were
period.
but we came out of the fears of technology.
Yeah, like this
Or
is where
potential
it could go.
fears of
Like,
technology, right?
If I go to my cousins right now who are like I guess they're pretty old now, so like 14, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
They don't know life without the
No,
internet.
they
They grew
grew-
up with the iPad.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like,
Yeah, we did not.
right? And it's like, bro, this isn't real.
Yeah.
But it's so real to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll like be so captivated with what's on screen, but that's because they were programmed to be captivated by what's on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not real. It's like, dude, just turn that off. We were at this wedding, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I told the story already, but we were at this wedding and I filmed. So everyone had their phones out. I was like, nobody's enjoying the physical wedding. Like we're about to get food. We have unlimited alcohol, all that stuff. So I started filming all of them on their phones. And then I sent it to our cousin's group chat. But we're all at the table. And I was like, is this a wedding or a phone party? And then some of them like chuckled and they put their phone down.
Right.
Right. And I was like, the physical world, guys, we're in a real world. This is real, you know? But just like we were saying about the digital world, it's like the dependency is getting there. It's like, it's so
We're
reasonable, but it's
we're
like,
very
bro.
dependent. Yeah, we're very dependent on it. Like even like going into an elevator and a stranger is there. What do we do?
Yeah, pull your
We
phone.
pull out the
Yeah,
phone
yeah,
and look
yeah.
like we're busy. We're not really
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah, that's true. That's so funny. No, I don't pull out my phone. Because there's no Wi-Fi in the elevator. So what I do is I open my fanny pack and I'm like, oh, did I forget? I just start checking things in my fanny pack. But like, yeah, we do all do that.
But we all do the phone thing. Everyone does the phone thing.
Like something to distract us from. Actually, you know, it's funny that you say that.
Funny to it is to distract us from the real world.
Yes.
To handle like how to deal with the real world.
And it's funny that you say that because I've been hearing a lot of people talk about that, right? So as a self-practice, I in those moments of like so me and Tara are eating, and then she goes to the bathroom. I make a point to see how uncomfortable or comfortable I can be in the uncomfortable by not pulling out my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one time she came back, she's like, why do you look like that? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you look like you're like smiling and just like being like weird, right? I was like, yeah, because I'm trying to not pull out my phone right now. So it's like, let me just look around and enjoy my surroundings.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like even she was like, why do you look like that? Because I'm like, no, because I'm not on my phone.
Yeah.
Like everyone else would have just been on their phone.
Yeah.
But it's weird to see somebody like trying to take in the scenery without their phone.
Right.
You know, because I don't want to be as dependent on the system as like they are. Like when you see these young kids on it, it's like, oh man, like I could have walked up and slapped you in the face. You would have no idea. And then you'd have been like, hey, what the hell? Jump back to your video. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
it's not like we're so out of touch with what's directly in front of us. Like not us.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I know what you
saying,
mean.
Like I'm
Yeah.
actually physically seeing
Yeah.
this. I'm like, oh wow, this is actually a thing.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens to us. Like, what does
As a human
this technology do to us?
Yeah.
Like our evolutionary future.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like, again, freaking me out because it's like the Matrix. It was real. It is real. Like they were trying to give us all these warnings. You
Right.
know, but the Matrix, it was more about like the philosophies that they took, even though they used it in a digital sense. The philosophies that they took were more about like the illusion of what we think reality is, like human to human.
Yeah.
Like they just use technology as the medium to tell that story. But then now as we go forward, it's like, oh, actually it really was showing us what the future is going to be like. Like, obviously we're not not yet. We're not hooked up to a, like a machine.
Well, we're getting there with the VRs, right?
No,
But I know what you mean.
the
I know what you mean.
pods,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in the
yeah.
pods,
No,
right,
no.
where
Yeah,
like actual batteries.
We're not in that. Yeah.
But how much longer before we, like some people actually accept that as a
Right.
thing, you know? But, you know, we might actually be in that thing right now. Because one of the things that they said in the movie is like, they made it too easy. The first iterations of the Matrix were too easy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a utopia, and then people revolted. Their minds couldn't take it because they're like, we need struggle. So that's why they created the newer Matrix, which is like rife with struggle.
Right.
And it's like, how do we know we're not actually in that right now? Like, there's a different philosophical talk, but it's like seeing where technology is going. It's like, maybe in the future we will hit that, and we've already hit that. Like, maybe we are in pods right now, in some sort of thing.
Sure, yeah, maybe, yeah.
Like, no, I'm like, obviously we don't know, but it's just like, but watching the dependence grow in the youth towards technology, I'm like, oh, this actually could go in that direction. Like, all right, so iPads to us were like novel, right? But then we were saying youth, they see iPads as normal. So I grew up with an iPad. Yeah. So Neuralink, right? So to us, Neuralink will be novel. But then to kids, it's like, everyone's got Neuralink, of course. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the normalcy of becoming one with technology is not out of the realm of possibility. Like, we've actually seen it. So it's like, we might actually be in the Matrix right now. Can you see that? Like, as a...
Well, I mean, that's just, we don't know that.
No, we don't know that. But I'm saying, like, if we did continue on this path, I'm like, I can logically see that progression of why wouldn't people plug themselves into the Matrix?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Right? Like, because it's just like iPads and Neuralinks. Like, why not? If you didn't know any different.
Yeah.
Right. That's why these podcasts, again, keep saying, like, we were the golden age, because we saw the difference between...
Like, the transition,
Yeah, right. So we remember life without digital stuff. But they do not know.
No, they don't know.
Right. And the difference is, like, so night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they could literally just Google anything, but we didn't have that luxury.
No, yeah.
Right? And even if you did Google something, well, it wasn't called Google at the time, but, like, even if you did search something, it's like you didn't know if you could trust it. Same with now, but, like, there's more vetted sources than there were before. Yeah. That was kind of freaky. Okay, all right. So moving on to tipping, because I thought this was interesting as well. That post that I sent with like 15% seems like rude now. If they
don't tip 15%.
No, 15% is rude. Like, because that was the standard. Before it was like 15% was like normal. Like,
I thought it was 10%.
10% normal? No, I remember.
No, I thought they said that if they don't tip,
no,
was it tip
15
more
and below is considered rude.
Oh, yeah. 15 and below.
Yeah. So it's like, that's more of an inflation thing. But then you, like, we always talk about tipping, and you brought up this point of, like, you don't think that tipping should be a thing, right?
Yeah.
And there are countries in different parts of the world where tipping is not a thing, right? But we've built up a society where, you know, our servers don't get paid, and that's why you need to tip them. So it's like, why do we take the onus of that?
Yeah.
You know?
Didn't they change that though? Weren't they changing that something about
minimum wage?
Yeah. And then
I don't know.
And then I think that tipping was going away.
Oh, really? They said that?
Yeah, there was something like that, and I think restaurants were upset about that thing that happened or whatever it was at the time. This was like maybe last year.
Oh, okay. Oh, actually, I vaguely remember. Yeah, they're gonna increase the living wage for people.
Yeah.
So like,
something like that.
I could see that. Like, if you do increase the living wage or the minimum wage for servers, yeah, why would you need to tip?
You don't need to tip. Yeah.
Like that's like, would you tip would you tip your nurse? Would you tip your, accounting person?
Yeah.
You don't actually do that.
Yeah.
But we were tipping because they were getting below minimum wage.
Well, did we even know that? We were just doing the tipping
because it was like a societal thing. Yeah, like you tip.
Yeah. I didn't know that they were getting paid less before.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought this was part of the industry. Like, oh, thank you for the service. Like, it's you saying thank you, right? Yeah. But I mean, that explains why there's so many people who stay in that industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like I was at that all-you-can-eat buffet yesterday, and there were like servers there, but they were old, and I was confused. I'm like, why are you in this job? But if you can get tips that make a lot of money, it's like, okay, that is why you're in this job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, it is one of the oddest parts about our society, like tipping. Even tipping, like when you go to a like a store and it serves food. Any store that serves food, there's always the tip option, right? Like I forgot the name of like fuel bars, like Yorkdale, like, because I always pick up food from there.
Okay.
Like, even if it's like all you do is you grab something from the freezer and then you pay for it, like convenience store style.
Okay.
You know, you go to a convenience store and you just like pick up something, you usually pay for it.
They have tipping now?
Yeah, they have tipping in all those things.
Oh.
Not now, always been.
Oh God.
So it's like, that seems odd to me, because like all you did was stand at the register. You literally didn't make me anything.
Yeah.
So
do you tip when you do takeout?
Do I tip? I tip all the time. I feel bad. Like, it's like social norms. I just like, ugh. Well, no. The only time I don't tip is Blaze Pizza when Tara orders it on the app, because I'm like, I'm just picking it up, bro.
Yeah.
Your job was to make the pizza.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I don't think I think they get paid normal wage. Like, I don't think
Blaze
they get
Pizza
paid.
people?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're literally making the pizza. It's like the pizza person. It's the person that pizza pizza.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I tip? Although I think there's a tipping option for the pizza. Maybe.
Yeah, you can probably do, but I think that they don't do that. I don't think they pay them like restaurant, like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly. Like, waiter, waitress, or whatever.
Pizza Olo down the street. There's a tipping option.
Right.
I don't tip there because I'm like, what?
Yeah. You're not just giving me
pizza. You're just literally heating it up and giving it to me. Like, what the hell? Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah, tipping is weird. Actually,
yeah, it's weird. It's weird. That's why I just cancel tipping and just.
You should just pay them more. Like, but then what if our like?
No, they'll probably increase the food.
Yeah, food prices. I actually saw that. I've seen this recently, that food prices at restaurants, they were taking a survey, like stats thing, and the prices went up, but the portions went down.
Yeah.
Because of inflation, right? And I did notice that at like Union Social. Like, we used to get a plate of fries, and now it's like a side of fries. And you're like, oh, it went down, but the price is roughly the same or more.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. But what can you do? It's like inflation. It's almost like, I wonder if people during the time of the Great Depression, they were also finding this too. You know, when you had to like carry wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy like a loaf of bread, like those pictures or whatever, when their money was so down. Makes me think, like, if they had a podcast during that time, do you think people were like, oh, this is so weird, I have to carry like a whole barrel full of it's just like we're talking now, like, why is the portion size so small? Like, when you're living through it, it doesn't seem like a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just what we're doing. And then later on during history, they're like, oh, that was that period of time.
Right.
You know? Well, speaking of which, one thing that Jonah was talking about, he was like the whole China feud of like Taiwan, because they're right there, so they get all that news all the time.
Right.
And like, he's talking about Russia too, and like during World War I, it was not a bunch of things. It wasn't one big thing. It was a bunch of small things.
Yeah.
That led up to World War I. And it's almost like, are we doing that right now? Inflation, angry countries at one another. Like, could we literally see an explosion of?
Yeah, that's the risk with when Russia went into Ukraine, right? That was the whole. Yeah.
But like, we didn't. The majority of people didn't see it. Like, yes, people are paying attention. Like you're like, okay, yeah, that's a risk. But like for me, I was like, oh, that's weird that they're invading. You know,
that's why like no country really wants war, because it disrupts the economy.
Yeah, well, disrupt the economy.
Yeah, so like, that's why like they were only sending. Nobody's
actually fighting.
There's no actual U.S. troops in Ukraine. There's no actual like other countries' troops in Ukraine. It's just Ukraine has to. We can send them supplies, but they have to do it themselves.
Which is super intense because it's like,
Yeah.
what if somebody breaks that pact? Like, what if somebody breaks that and they just send like, you know?
Yeah, nobody wants to do that, right?
But what if they do? It's like,
no country's going to do. They're listening to America. If America does it, then.
but that's my point. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like,
But
are we witnessing World War III's lead up?
I don't
Not even
see
realizing
America. I don't think America wants to deal with that, especially like with that whole issue. Like the current government doesn't want to deal with that.
No, I 100% agree, but it's just like World War II, right? Hitler was doing, oh, what was that friggin' movie that you told me to watch? And it was so good because nothing happened.
Oh,
You know, with the guy from Kingsman 3?
yeah.
So, like, if you, what was that? It's like Munich? It's called Munich, the lead up to war or something like that.
Yeah, it was was it on Netflix?
Yeah. And you were like, this is so good. And then, like, we watched it. And it was like, oh, nothing happened. But that's why it was good. Because it was like, it was like a year before World War II happened.
Yeah, they were trying to stop the war from happening.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And but nothing happened, and that's what was so genius about that movie, because just like now, nothing's happening. But the guy in the movie, he was signed up to become an air fighter pilot, and his wife's like, "Why are you doing that?" He's like, "War's coming. I have 1 year to prepare." But it's like nobody knew that was coming. Only a select few.
Right.
And it's freaking me out now because I'm like, is this where we're headed to? Because like, yeah, because like, so many small things are really leading up to a lot of tension.
Yeah, especially now, the tension of the recession and all that, right? So everything feels up in the air, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we talk about freaking the digital world becoming super dependent on the digital. Actually, no, I said this to Jonah. I was like, and I think this is really true. The thing that's making the difference, I think the one thing that's stopping World War III, that will stop World War III, period, is the internet. And why is because I feel like people will just band together and be like, I'm boycotting this. I'm not going to sign up.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of that in the U.S. with the Vietnam situation.
But the difference with
But then they didn't have the internet then, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
so now we do.
yes. Remember we watched that Vietnam thing and they were like losing the movie. You and I watched it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And they were like losing, but then they were hiding the tapes and stuff like that.
Yes.
There's no hiding anymore. You
I think
have
it's
the
called.
internet, bro.
Yeah. It wasn't Spotlight. It was a newsroom thingy. I forgot. Tom Hanks, right?
Yeah. He had all the data of like why they're losing.
Yeah.
But they didn't want
Like
that
how
to
many
go out.
soldiers were actually dying.
Yeah. So like now we're just gonna like tweet about it, you know, and then people are just like, they'll become like a hashtag, like hashtag anti-war or something. And then people just won't join the army.
Yeah.
I really feel that that's the one thing that's, because there's no more patriotism, nationalization, none of that, you know? And I think a great example, it's going to sound so weird, but the UFC is a great example for that. The reason why is because we're all collectively coming together to watch these people fight and they're representing their country, but then you watch the camaraderie that happens. So you're literally watching like violence and humanity play itself out. Like
Right.
the UFC now, like they're very nationalistic heavy. Like they'll have like the flag of the person next to their name, right? But in that nationalism, there's almost anti-nationalism now. Like, so what I mean is, I like Khabib. He's Russian.
Yeah.
So why would I hate on Russian people? I like Khabib. And the flag there is like, he represents Russia.
Yeah.
So if you like Russia, you got to support this guy. I'm like, yeah, totally. All the Dagestani people, love you guys, right? But that's going to make me not want to fight Russians. You know what I'm saying? Like, the over-representation of nationalism kind of deletes nationalism. Right? Does it make sense?
Yeah. Because you're seeing people for people now.
Because you see people for people. Yeah. You see the violence and the humanity play itself out.
Yeah.
And like, actually, there's a guy I trained.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like a lot of the Ukrainians, and they're like, they were one country before, so it's like they're having their own. But generally, that happens too, right? Where it's the same people are fighting each other.
Yeah. Typically, over like land and like all that.
Yeah.
But
it's always focusing on the minor difference.
Yes.
And using that as the big thing.
But I think that is what this humanity is what's going to stop us from having another world war. I really believe this. because there's a person at jiu-jitsu who's like Russian, and I love training with this guy. So imagine if they were like, we're going to war with Russia. I mean, even during the Russia,
But it's not like
thing,
the same anymore. They can't do like you're going to war with Russia, but it's not.
No, wait.
It's not the Russian people.
No,
right?
that's what I mean. So like, sorry, not the war with Russia. You know, like there was all this Stand by Ukraine stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was like kind of anti-Russian at that time because it was like, oh, Russian people.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a little bit of tension. I could feel it during that time towards this guy. But we put all that aside because we're like, we train with this guy. Like this guy gives us knowledge. Like he's a great training partner.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't see like any like stand with Ukraine.
Yeah.
When I look at this guy, I'm like, no, this is a dude, you know?
Yeah.
And like,
and the thing that's we got to remember, like it's just not, even it's like you're not against
the people. It's not his fault.
It's not the Russian people.
Right. But that sense of humanity is what's going to stop us from World War III. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because it's like
that was like being told, especially when that whole stand for Ukraine, and there was some increase
Russian hate
that the government tried to like it's not the Russian people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not the Russian people. And they're not Russians per se. They're Canadian now, right?
Yeah,
or like
totally, yeah, for sure.
It's a different thing.
But what's interesting too is like it's all because of the internet. Because think about this. 9/11 happened. How many people were pissed at Afghani people?
I don't think it was just Afghani. They're just Muslims.
Yeah, Muslims in general, totally. Well, but the Afghanis, right? They're from.
No, but the attack was on Muslims in general.
For sure.
Right.
All right. We'll say Muslims. So with that, right? It's like that wouldn't stand now. I don't think so because of the internet. Like.
Yeah.
We're such a collective society that you can't brainwash a select few into doing your bidding anymore. Unless you control the internet. Like what happens in Russia, like what they're saying is that they're controlling the media to the point of the reason why the Russian people want to fight back is because they're programming their people saying like, oh no, we're liberating these people.
Yeah.
But that's because that's all you can see, right?
But that's also not Russian people's fault, right? So
no, for sure.
That makes it even less, more. But that's not the people's fault.
Totally. So when you see it like, oh, we're liberating them, of course you want to fight. Like, yeah, I'm trying to liberate them. Just like World War I, World War II. It's like you were during that time. You were saying, you know, I want to fight for my country. I want to protect the people back home. But that wouldn't fly anymore.
Yeah.
Because the messaging would be totally
the Western world is way too much multicultural.
Yeah.
To have that happen.
Okay, I feel more relieved now. Now that we had this discussion, I'm like, yeah, World War III couldn't happen because like the internet. Especially, you know what really shows the support for like LGBTQ people. It's so strong, and like canceling people. It's like, how could we just go to war? That would be so against inclusivity, diversity, and equity. Right? Like, oh, now we're just gonna fight these people because of who they are.
I don't think it was never that though, right? The wars were never about but against people. It was about
back
the
then,
government.
World War I and II.
It was still against the Nazi government, right? Not the German people.
But the way that they like, if you watch Quentin Tarantino's movie, Inglourious Bastards, it was like super anti-Nazi. Like everyone who's a Nazi is a bad person, right? But it's like that's actually not true. Like some people were Nazis, but they were kind of like, okay, I guess I'll do this. Like
that reminds me of this other movie. I think it was a Danish movie. It was a Netflix one as well, which was like, or Denmark, where they took over, and then the Denmark have to be. There's German soldiers, right, or Nazis.
But they're like, they
don't know. They're just they have to.
That's what I mean,
right? And it's like, so it was a really good movie showing that, and like they didn't understand what was happening to the Jews, and then like one of the guys explaining like, do you see them come back? Like
exactly. So all those things combined, it's like with the internet, the truth about what's out there is being like unraveled. How can you possibly because the only way to have a world war is to like program people to become super nationalist. That's what world wars
Yeah.
are, like country versus country, right? It's not like it's not like type of person against type of person. It's like
There is
literally
some, so there
country.
is some level of nationalism is there, like, but again, not in, I don't know if,
But I feel like it's 100%
I can
nationalism.
only bring up like when Obama, when they actually killed Osama bin Laden, right?
Yeah.
And the amount of people that came out in front of the White House.
But he made that, like, that leader.
No,
made
but that
problem.
was the main thing, right? Like everybody hated the Iraq War,
Oh,
like,
yeah, except
right?
right.
But it was like when we actually got the guy that actually did 9/11.
because that was like a but that's different. Like,
That's a bit of nationalism, right?
no, that's like
National pride in that sense.
no. I would say that's more like good versus evil.
Yeah.
No, but nationalism is like my country's better than your country.
I don't. Okay.
Right. That's like that's what like
As a
nationalism-
nation, you came together.
As a nation, yeah. No. But they're not going against another country. It's not country versus country.
No, it's not.
good
It
versus
wasn't
evil.
never-
It's like we are killing the bad guy.
Yeah.
And we've killed the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right. So that's more like good versus evil, not nationalism. Your nationalistic pride, yes, because you're
Okay,
like,
so I'm using it in that sense.
right. But what I'm saying is like world wars are fought off of nationalism. You're like, oh, they're going to invade us and they're going to take away our way of life. This other country is going to come in.
Yeah.
Whereas that one is more like one man created this thing. It's like Hitler.
Yeah.
You know, like we were fighting Hitler in
The
World War II.
expansion of Hitler's Germany. Yeah.
Yes. So World War II was good versus evil, right? It's like we were fighting against Hitler. But in World War One, that was straight nationalism. Like there's no main enemy in World War Three. Like if we do hit a World War Three, who's the enemy? Putin? Like what?
Yeah, the only thing is that. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, but like, is he enough to be that much of a world enemy?
Well, that's why they haven't gone to war with him. Right? Or, I mean,
But
that's why we haven't gone to war.
But that's
right?
what I mean, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, you don't have...
And I don't think he wants to do that either. I think he just wants Ukraine back. But
exactly. So it's like...
I don't think he's going further than Ukraine.
Yeah, he's not like, let me take over the world. Like,
But like, that's
chill,
the thing.
bro.
Like, if they go... Because Ukraine was not part of that.
The NATO thing, you're saying?
Yeah, not NATO, whatever it was, that deal. I forgot what it's called, the European thing. But if there's a country next to Ukraine, if they enter into that, then it's war.
Okay, yeah, sure. Like, now you're trying to, like...
Now you're
reach
expanding
beyond.
yeah.
So that makes sense, but like... But could we possibly have a World War III type scenario that's mirroring World War One? No.
No,
But we could have a World War III scenario that's mirroring World War II,
that could be.
but I don't see...
We're not there yet, though.
But I don't see Russia as that much of a powerhouse to...
I don't think so. Yeah, they don't have... I think they know that if they do that, they're done.
Yeah, like... Yeah.
Why?
Even if Russia teamed up with, like, another country...
Which would only be China
Which would
to
only
be
be Chi-
having a
But China also
massive
relies,
impact.
But China also relies on the Western world to, like, sell its products. So
Yeah.
the economics are kind of iffy there,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah, I think we're fine.
I don't think we're getting into another world war.
But I do think that there will be a shift in superpowers economically. I see this happening, and there's no way to fix it. Like, war can't fix this. It's all just economic, like, owing. Like, well, what I mean by this is, if China ends up buying out, which they're seeming to do, all of the real estate here, and they own it, and they're just making us renters, it's like, you can't go to war over that. That's a business deal. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I could see that happening. Like, our dollar reducing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, to go back to this book, I forgot the name of it, but like they named the reasons why U.S. is still in power. It's what the Saudis decide to sell oil in,
Yep.
which is U.S. dollar.
Because before that was the pound, I believe.
Yeah, before, I guess. But now they're considering the Chinese dollar. I saw that recently, and I was like, oh, that's a problem. and then like military might, and then I forgot what the last one was, like culture or something like that. But if U.S. can't pay its debts and inflation keeps rising, that's when you'll see the economic shift, and like China might become the new superpower if the Saudis are like, we can't trust the U.S. dollar anymore. We need to back our money off of something else.
Mm-hmm. Even the same thing with the China's economy too, because a lot of that, they're connected with their real estate thing too.
Yeah, real estate's big. Like,
No. I'm saying in China, they have built more than people own.
In China?
Yeah. So there is a potential collapse in their economy too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
That's also what's being talked about.
Rough.
That it would be a global recession. Like it would actually affect the world. Yeah.
But remember we had like recession in 2008?
Yeah.
We're going to do it again? Like, oh my God. Like what kind of system are we running right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still can't believe nobody remembers that thing where they're talking about the national debt, and then it came down to that one day when either Obama's going to push it, like extend the debt amount, or collapse the American economy. You don't remember this at all, right?
I think I remember a little bit, yeah.
Okay, because I brought this up before, and you were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, it was a big thing. Like, I remember it being a big thing for me because I was freaking out about it, like, especially studying. I was in university at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, so, like, the decision
This was during the 2008, though, right?
Yeah. A couple years after, though, because it was 2008, and then, like, a couple years.
Yeah. No, I think, I don't know if I said I don't remember, or I can't remember, but, like,
but we're coming up to
I'm
that
saying
time,
like they're
though.
not gonna default on the debt. They're
They can't, or else you're done.
Yeah. I remember like them. They're like the American dollar in the midst of that whole 2008 situation. That it like there's like these ratings. I don't know. It's like AAA rating or like.
Oh yeah.
And it came down to a AA or something. Yeah.
That's like how much you can trust them to
how
pay
much
back
they
your
can.
debt.
Yeah. So they're back at AAA right since then. So.
But the thing was, during that time was either you sign it or it gets pushed back to like around the time that we're at now. So I'm like, are they going to bring that up again where either you...
Was it now? Did nothing happen during Trump's time?
No, I think
it pushes back, what, 8 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Or not 8 years, sorry. He only had one term, so 5 years?
Yeah. That maybe that's why he didn't have to deal with it. No, like... It was during Obama's time, and then they said, like, it would push back, like, I don't know, 8 years, 10 years, something like that. Like,
I don't know.
Kicking the problem down the road. So I think we're hitting that point now where it's like they have to deal with their national debt crisis because they are owing a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, like, how are you going to deal with that?
No, I think they just print more money.
But if you print more money, your dollar value goes down.
Yeah.
Because then you have more money in circulation, and then that actually makes.
I don't know if they will do that. Yeah, we'll see what they want to do, but I don't know where that situation is in that. Like, did they already?
I haven't been keeping up with it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, did they already?
It was all over CNN. I remember that. I was like watching it closely. Like, are we about to see the crash? And then he decided to sign it and like kick it down the road.
Right. Yeah, but I don't know like if that was rectified or not. Right. So.
True. Yeah.
From that time.
That's funny.
Because I haven't heard anything recently about that.
Yeah. Then they bring it up like soon. You're like, oh my God, but the thing with the money thing, everyone always says like you can print more money, but it's like you really can't print more money because that whole thing with like the more money you have, it actually develops. Like, so like if it's kind of like stock. What was that thing with the stock prices? It happened to Tesla. The poison pill. You divide up the stock. You were talking about it. All right, well, I don't remember the exact example. You brought it up before, but basically the way stocks work, if you have like, if it's worth like $10,000 and then you cut it up more and more, each individual share is worth less and less. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like that's the thing with our like national money.
Well, that was
as
with
well.
the Twitter thing. I think you're talking about poison pill.
Oh, maybe it was Twitter.
Yeah, it was Twitter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They're talking about like.
Yeah. Because he
up his
was
stocks.
owning more of the Twitter stocks.
Yeah, so they were gonna divvy up more.
Yeah.
So that like he'd own like less of it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happens with our money as well. If you end up like printing more money, the amount of $1 gets divided even more and more, and like you lead to more inflation.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole like money thing is super scary. It's like how are we gonna like rectify everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else about money? Are you searching?
No, I just I'm trying to find if there was a debt clock or whatever.
Oh, to see if. Oh, okay, cool.
But I just see like what debt they're at. That's all.
Oh, okay.
And others have debt too, right? Other countries
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
under American dollar debt. So it's like yeah.
It's a weird. If you watch the movie The Big Short, they really
Yeah.
they showed this really well.
Mm-hmm.
Don't read the book though, because like I read the book and I was like, this is not at all like the movie. Like it's so like heavy. It's not easily digestible. Like whoever turned that book into the movie like did a great job, because you can actually understand how debt works if you watch The Big Short. Yeah. All right. So nothing else about money.
No.
All right. Cool. Okay. So speaking of more things that are kind of depressing, Gabor Mate, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and then I went out and bought the book. I just want to bring this up because he brought up a good point. His new book is called The Myth of Normal, right? And one thing that he was saying is that we've normalized trauma in our society.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you're like, if a kid comes to you and they're like, oh, I need some help, I'm being bullied, and you're like, you'll be fine, deal with it yourself, go back outside. It's like, then that kid has to learn how to deal with that trauma themselves, but that's how we've built up our society.
Yeah.
Right? And then in this, we've created maladaptive behavior because we don't know how to regulate our emotions. We just end up bottling up our emotions.
Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And like what he's saying is, before, if you look at like hunter-gatherer societies and like more collectivist societies, you're working as one unit, right? But we're kind of separating ourselves, you know?
Okay.
Like how we've talked about before, like we live in this apartment, but I don't know any of our neighbors. We live more close together, but more separated psychologically.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is not actually good for our psyche, because it's like, that's not like.
Well, we've
feeling
never.
alone
Yeah, I understand that, but we've never, like, it's not ever done like
this way before.
this way before.
But that's why he calls it the myth of normal, because we're all saying this is normal, bro. Like, you not knowing your neighbors is
Right.
normal.
Right.
But he's like, but in our genealogy, it's actually not normal.
Yeah.
And that's what's leading to a lot of.
That's what's different in other countries, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah, more collectivist countries. Like, yeah, what you're gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're all similar people and culture.
Yeah.
So they, they're not viewing each other like different people.
Yeah. Actually, Tara's dad brought this. This is very true. Like, so we were having this discussion about, like, why would somebody want to move back to the third world country, like Philippines or something, right? And what he was saying, and I was like, yeah, I totally understand this, is like, when you live in those areas, you can be like, hey, watch my kids.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, yeah, totally. Like, we're working together, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like, you ask somebody to watch your kids, you're like, I don't know who you are.
It's very individualistic nature, right? Yeah.
Right? And that's the myth of normal, of like, in our current society, these things are normal. Like, trauma has become so normalized.
Yeah.
Right? Because we need to feel collective. We need to feel like a part of a group. We need to feel understood, cared for.
Yeah.
But like, how do you make it to the top? Cut everyone down. Claw your way to the top.
Right.
Lie, cheat, and steal. All these negative things, right?
Yeah.
And what he's saying is that our emotions are really tied to our health, right? The reason why we're getting a lot of like suicide rates are going up and like diseases are going up is because of this maladaptive behavior. You know, one thing he said, like, anger is tied to your immune system. So if I express my anger, like if something happens, like let's say your boss, like, it was like a silly example, your boss yells at you and you're like, you hold it in because you're like, oh, he's above me, I have to take it, right? And then that's actually depressing your immune system, and which will lead to things like disease, cancer, all this stuff. But if you were able to like vent that emotion, that's why catharsis is so important. Like, you know, when you go home and you're like, oh dude, this happened to me today, blah, 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 you can let it go. And that's like what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But we don't do that now because it's not normalized to like exercise our emotion.
Right.
You know, like we're told to be strong by bottling things up or like cutting other people down. Like you know, like if you cheat somebody, you know internally like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But you do it because, you know, you want to get ahead, which is normal in our society. But it's leading to disease and maladaptive behavior.
Right.
Kind of freaky, you know? You're like, what is happening? Like, we're building like this digital, invisible system. Our debt systems are going haywire. Now we realize like even the way we live our lives is psychologically damaging to us and like leading to disease.
Right.
It's almost like this whole like Western model was like this crazy experiment. You know, it's only 100 years. So I was like, how would this work? And then now we're starting to see like, oh, this is how it like brings us down. Yeah. I don't know. Thoughts on that? Or
well, that's what we learn and we change, right? Or we make changes.
Yeah, that's true. But like, is it too late? You know, like
I don't think anything's necessarily too late.
Like, but you're so entrenched in it. How can you go back? Like you're talking about convenience.
Yeah, no. I think, but those are different things you're talking about, right? So
no, but those are what got us to here. So we like those are what kept our system alive. Overworking, working crazy hours, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we can't possibly have like a 2-day work week and live like third world countries are third world countries for a reason. They're more chill. But that's the cost. Yeah. Right?
Well, we can see like other countries like Sweden or how were they like or like those sort of things.
Sweden's not a top country.
Yeah, no. I think it all depends on how does the country want to lead, right? Top country or not? Like how are the systems governed, right? So you're only doing things that will generally only be focusing on your own citizens, right? So.
But what I'm saying is like we got to the top spot. We got to the top spot by maladaptive behavior. How do you go back? Unless you give up your top spot.
Yeah. I'm not saying. I think those will be individual questions, right? So.
No, but however
you want to live.
But you live in society.
No.
So, how do you? We're talking about dependence on the system.
Yeah, like how much you're putting your dependence on the system, or.
Yeah, no, I see your point.
Right. Like, so how are you dealing with the trauma, or are you teaching? You know what I'm saying?
No, but how can you not deal with the trauma if you're working like a job you hate for X amount of time just to live in the system? So how do you leave that system? Because you're like, oh, it's up to the individual. Like how you're living in this society. All right, don't get a PS5. Don't get a car. Because all these things require tethering to the system.
Yeah, no. I'm saying like this is not things that'll just change like that. But these are just the ebb and flows of any kind of society that goes through, right? We're always going to be changing, learning, or like that, right? We're not the same society as 100 years ago.
No, for sure. Well, yes, but in order to get to here, the top spot, quote unquote, you had to create this maladaptive behavior.
Yeah, so and if it's end up becoming detrimental to your society, that it's not working out, right? So it's like things change.
But then you have to give up your top spot.
Yeah.
But then...
Well, you may have to give up your top spot.
But how could you not?
No, I'm just saying you may have to give up your top spot. If top spot ends up going to China, and China's the...
Like overworking their people? Yeah.
Like, what detriment will they have to their society over the next 100 years, right?
Yeah, true, yeah.
Right. So it's like, it's the ebb and flow kind of thing. Like societies keep, some countries go up, some countries go down. It's just, this is how the world has been going on ever since, right?
Right, for sure. But in order to hit this level of convenience, you've created a traumatized society, and the people that are traumatized are dependent on the system. So if you break the system, what do they have left to lean on? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you've kind of just unraveled your house of cards. You
so
kind of
that's
screwed all of us over.
Right. So, again, I don't know how society moves or changes, or that all depends on how the people are like, right? So, do people get more understanding of the world from...
So, do they make choices where they're like, I don't want this? And then they're like...
Yeah, like how much of an impact is... what's his name? Gabor
Yeah.
Doing, like, is he reaching more of an audience? Is he...
No, he's just illuminating people. He's not trying to change anything.
No. I know he's not trying to change anything necessarily, but he's illuminating people that will eventually change people, right?
Yes.
So, him going on those talks is what he's doing.
No, for sure. Yes. But then you have to choose actively to untether from the system. This is actually a great point, because you're right. He educated me to that. So it's like, so how much would I want to do? All right. So, for example, I don't know how else to explain this without giving the exact example. So, like, I get asked to do a lot of jobs, right? Like a freelance jobs on top of my full-time work. And then I don't like this one client. So I was like, I'm just going to push it. I don't really want to have to deal with this person. And then I told Tara, and she's like, yeah, but like money's money. And I was like, well, there's a reason why we haven't chosen to go tether ourselves to need the money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're right. He is illuminating people to untether from the system. But then what kind of system are we just going to have a bunch of free people that choose to be poor?
It depends on how you look at it. Depends on how you look at that, right? So,
okay.
Right, poor in the money sense, maybe, but you could be
rich in spirit.
Stupid.
No, but
No, I know.
I'm actively untethering from the system.
But we don't know. Okay. Yeah, but I'm saying we don't know what him saying these things and how much people he's reaching. What does that have an impact to the society over time?
But if we all acted like me, then we wouldn't have the same kind of society we would have right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There are people that work
this has been going. Yeah, but this has been going on for this is all of human history, kind of thing, right?
But to have the society we have, we need to overwork ourselves.
No. I understand this society, but it's also anything that requires big societies, right? These are big societies was not part of the norm.
Yeah, that's true. But there are examples of great societies that have done well. I was talking about those people in Peru.
Yeah.
Who had double the amount of food.
I understand that. Yeah. But then they're not there, right?
Because Spanish came and killed them.
Yeah. So it's you're dealing with the world of different ideas.
Yeah.
So that's the world. It's an ebb and flow thing, right? Where it's
yeah.
That's what I mean. Where it's society just changes and grows, or whatever happens, it happens. We're not, you know what I mean? You can make certain individual things to your life around what you can actually control, right?
Yeah.
But it's a whole society that's being affected here. That will change here and there. That's just part of the whole.
For sure. But my initial point was have we created a society that's kind of screwed us all over? The whole idea of normalized trauma. Trauma being as simple as working to the wee hours of the morning for a job that's supposed to only be X amount of, I'm only getting paid for this, but I'm doing more because that's what's required of me.
Right.
So it's that is also trauma.
Sure.
So, but that's what makes the wheels of this bus keep turning.
Yeah.
So are we living in a society that screwed us all over? It seems that way.
It may seem that. It may seem that way. Yeah.
Right. Like.
Sure.
Like. I guess maybe like the idea, even as a kid, for myself.
Well, I think the world has selected capitalism as the way to go, right?
Yes. But capitalism is trauma.
Yeah, so we've selected capitalism. The whole world has selected capitalism.
Yeah, it's true.
We're all in the same game now. Right? We're not...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
So...
Unless you live in those, like, Swedish countries that have, like, unlimited sick days, 3-month vacations.
Yeah, but again, like, it depends on, like... you can have all that, but like how much, where did their wealth come from, right? Sweden's wealth.
I don't know.
To allow that to happen, right?
Or maybe they're just like,
because nobody can we can't go to Sweden. I mean, like we can go visit, but we can't
like live in Sweden.
Yeah, it's not easy to get a citizenship for Sweden because they don't want outsiders in.
That's interesting. Yeah, being a human within the world is a very tricky thing.
Yeah.
Like, you have all these countries that are run differently. You can't easily jump to another country. Mm-hmm. So even if you like the way another country is living their lives, you can't just go there.
Yeah. And they're having problems with right now, especially in Sweden. Like, even though it's supposed to be the peaceful nation, they're having like a lot of the refugees that came in through the Syria stuff. There's been issues going on, like fights with the cops or like like riots and things like that.
That's why we don't let immigrants in. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
no. I think one of the leaders there had said like, the mixing did not work, or like not the mixing or whatever. I forgot the terminology used, but it's like
maybe it's best to be homogeneous. Yeah, we should have just stuck to ethnicities. Like we shouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. This system that we're living in our society is all new.
Yeah, but that's why I go back to it's like, did it screw us over?
Well, we don't know, right? What's 1,000 years from now? What's going to happen? I don't know.
This is when the aliens come. But yeah, maybe it was. See, I always go back to this. Like kingdoms were the best way to run governments, right? Like you had one person that like ushered in more people. Like if you had a benevolent kingdom, that's probably the best way to go. Because, like, having this democracy makes no sense to me. It's like, if anybody can become president or the leader of a country, as proven by Donald Trump, it's like, what does this really mean about the system? The system's confused because people are confused.
Well, I think that's why they fought. Their whole reason was for the people to be in power, because people did not have power when the monarch was there. Because
they weren't benevolent. They weren't good leaders. Right?
Yeah, but you're saying you're not sorry?
Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like you can't say that for every next king to come. Right now, the queen just died, so there's a king right away.
But he's just a figurehead. Like,
no. What I'm saying is like that's like a monarch system, right? So that's what would happen. Like, how is that? So that those kings are born in. Raised in wealth, right? Yeah. So it's like they don't have a connection to the poor people.
I see what you're saying. There's a disconnect. Yeah. So maybe it is better that they rise up through the ranks, because then it's like you understand what regular people. Yeah.
So those are the arguments, right? That's why America became America.
Yeah. You know what's crazy though? You can't have a new country anymore because everything's just
now everything is
right? Like before you could have America because
unless
that's so trippy actually.
Until Russia takes over all of Ukraine, and that's it.
No. But what I'm saying is like before only the indigenous were in North America, and then they just got kicked out.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying now the land is pretty much taken out. Like the whole world's land is, like, the whole world has now become occupied, and the system has already made the system. You cannot possibly make a whole new country. Like this is it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like unless again we collapse in society, and then
unless we collapse, totally, for sure.
But at this current time, no.
You know, like even the story of Rome, it was two Greek brothers.
Yeah.
And then they created Rome. Why could they create Rome? Because there was so much land. But we don't have that much land anymore. So it's like, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
You can't possibly just create a whole new country.
Right.
Like, the system that we have is the system. Done. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what does constitute a whole new country, though? Because I'm wondering, like, can you actually... Like, I just said that out of logic, but I don't know if maybe there is a loophole where you can create a whole new country. I don't know. But out of logic, I'm saying, like, if you look at how things are made,
it's like, well, Taiwan's is the gray area, right, where it wants to be another country.
More legalities. The people are already living there.
No, yeah, okay. Right? Oh, you mean like get another place?
Like, could we just populate a whole uninhabited island and then just call it a country?
I don't know.
Like, let's say we float out. Like, I feel like the whole world map has been divvied
Well, it
out.
has to be that no one owns it at the time.
That's what I mean.
No country owns that island.
So,
right?
like, the whole world map seems to be divvied out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, they're like, anything found within this section is ours. Anything found within this section is ours. The only way, like you were saying, is, like, if nobody owns it. So if we found an undiscovered huge plot of land, then you can call it a country.
Right.
But I feel like the whole world's been divvied up that you cannot not find something that's unclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably fall within a district of something.
Yeah, but there's always...
or a country would come in with their tanks and be like, we own this now.
Yeah, but or there's like that whole... It's more about the borderlines. Who owns these?
Yeah,
who owns this much border or that much border? That keeps happening.
Right. But the players are already in play, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the countries are in place. Yeah.
You
Now it's just more about like, where are the actual lines?
Yeah, totally. But you can't add any more players.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty trippy to think about too. Yeah. Anything else about that one?
No. Yeah, I think it's you can only like separate out from a country. Like to be
like Quebec wants to be its own country.
Yeah, like that, or like the thing in Catalonia in Spain.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's like another one where
it wants to be its own country.
Yeah, or like Scotland wants to remove from the Great Britain. Well, no, it's not happening right now, but like these are kinds of things that are.
But it's already. What I'm saying is you can't start a whole new thing.
Yeah.
It's already like if you just want to separate, it's like but you're
separating out from the country, but that's already your own individual state kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm saying like you can't pull the America thing again, where it's like they left Britain and they found this huge plot of land and they're like, we're just gonna kick out the indigenous.
Yeah.
Can't do that again. Like it's done. The players are here.
Yeah, we're in this time now. Yeah.
And the system that the players operate in is here. Like, we all work off of global capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And the global capitalist system is based off of trauma. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so our second last thing. I was watching... So I read Bruce Lee's book, Be Water, My Friend, and then I was watching his interviews to like post them on Instagram, and I just did like a whole post series on him. One thing he was saying is like the way of no way, right? Like it seems so confusing, but I feel like he was the one person, or maybe like a lot of like I've always said like Bruce Lee's my favorite philosopher, and I guess a lot of philosophers thought this way too, but like he was really about not separating not just styles of martial arts but people. You know, he was like, there is really no difference between you and me. But actually, this kind of ties into the whole system thing. But like, there's no difference between you and me except the differences that we see.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you are as human as I am, but you operate differently culturally than me. But our cultures are the same. You know, you and I spend so much time seeing the similarities between everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's like when you went to church and you're like, oh, this is just like my thing. We also have the bread, whatever. Yeah. And it's like, it almost seems like that is the highest epitome of realization and understanding that you can have, is realizing that we are actually not separate. We are one, but we have these individual differences that we're forcing ourselves to look at in order to like not to create separation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I thought was really funny, if you watch the interview that he had with Pierre Burton, he was saying these things and they kept trying to cut him off. And like when he said like the interviewer's like, how do you want to see yourself, as a Chinese person or like an American? What do you want to be? And he's like, I want to see myself as a human being because we're all part of the sun. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, well, we gotta go. He didn't say, like, he literally cut it at that point if you watch the interview. And I was like, that's kind of interesting that this universal principle, which is so true, is separating, it is just trying to be silenced as quickly as possible, because separation is how we run our society, or like capitalist systems. Mm-hmm. You know, this goes back to the whole trauma and like the system that we've created for ourselves. But like why? Like it's almost like we can't operate knowing that we're all the same. Like really think about that one. Like the system cannot operate if we see ourselves as all the same, as human beings.
Well, how does that? What do we mean by that?
I knew you could say why. So like the reason why is because then who would be above the next person? Our society runs in a way that you need to have the upper class, middle class, lower class. Mm-hmm. You need to have Christians and Muslims. You need to have Hindus and like tribal people.
What do you mean?
Okay, so Christians and Muslims, they come from the same book.
Not really.
Not same book, same tree.
Sure.
Right? Like Jews then became Christians, then became Muslims.
Yeah, okay.
It's a trilogy.
Yeah.
But we're focusing on the individual separation in order to separate plots of land. You versus me.
Okay.
Right? But that's how our society works. We need ways to force people to do things in order to level up certain people and keep other people down. Because we're all playing this game of inequality.
Well, how are they keeping people down?
Money, job stats. That's what middle class, upper class, lower class is.
Okay.
Right? No, you don't agree?
Those are classes. I didn't understand what you mean by how are they keeping people down?
By, like, why do things cost, like the PlayStation 5?
Yeah.
Only certain people can afford that.
Right.
And then those people that afford that create these other groups where they only keep within that group. Like, we're not going to $1 million yacht clubs to hang out with people.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but that separation is what's keeping the up, the middle, the low, the low. But if we just saw each other's people, why couldn't I go to that yacht club and like hang out with you? And then you realize that I'm just a normal human being. Mm-hmm. We create these invisible gates to keep certain people in, certain people out.
Okay.
Do you see that or no?
In a class way?
Everything we do in society. Everything we do. Why can't... I mean, it's starting to change, and he was a big pioneer for that. That's why, like, when I went back and I was like, oh, this guy was talking about diversity, equity, inclusion way before anyone was. Mm-hmm. Because he was experiencing, like, Chinese racism, right? So he saw it firsthand, like, the division.
Right.
It's like, you're not allowed in this place, like, because you're of color, you know? But those are, like, very superficial things, and I think there are other subtle things that keep us all separated. Like private schools, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you all go to the same private school, then I think even your brother said this, like, it's not about... Well, no, I said that it's not about the education, it's about the connections. And then your brother was like, the Minister of Education went to school with Doug Ford. Like, they went to the same school.
Okay.
Right? But it's like when... how else can I explain this? But all right, so like with that, it's like I'm more trusting of you. I know that you have the same experiences as me. Right? I have more of an inclination to connect with you than if you weren't from my same school.
Okay. Yeah.
And these are like the invisible gates that I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Right. And I think like that almost needs to be addressed too. But if we address it, then we can't run the same system. Do you agree? If we really do achieve a state of equality, then how can the capitalist system survive? Because it runs off of inequality.
Capitalism runs off of inequality.
Yeah. Why are things priced so highly?
Right.
I can't have the same experience as you.
Right.
And that's what keeps you separate from me, because you've never had this experience.
But is that something like does Sony want the PS5 to be $1,000? Or do they want everyone to have a PS5?
No, but the capitalism is Sony wants to make money.
Yeah.
So it's not about, I want to make it $1,000. I just want to make profit.
Right.
So capitalism is how we run the world. But capitalism is based off of inequality. So if our whole system is run off of inequality, how can we ever achieve a state of equality? Do you see what I'm saying?
The whole system's run off of inequality?
Yeah, that's what upper class, lower class, middle class is. That's why things are priced more than others. That's why you have private schools that cost X amount of money, and then you have to you can't get in. You have to send in a resume, and who do you know? You know?
That's why no system can be fully capitalist, right? You have to have a mix.
What do you mean? No, I'm saying capitalism on itself is based off of inequality. That's just
right. Yeah.
You need levels.
Capitalism as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, you need levels.
Yeah.
Or else, how do I sell to you? Yeah, I need division in order to know who I'm selling to. But if we really want to seek this utopian society that I was saying that Bruce Lee saw, and people that reach the high state of realization realize, is that there's no difference between you. Racism.
Yeah, there's no real difference. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Racism would be abolished. Class systems would be abolished. We try and make pricing fair for everyone. It's everyone should have equal access to a PS5, you know? But we can never actually hit that state because the innate nature of our society is unequal. Of our system. Sorry.
Yeah. These are luxury items, right?
Exactly. So, yeah. I can't afford a luxury item.
Yeah.
If you were in that class, right? Yeah. So that automatically disqualifies you from having that experience. And if you don't have that experience, let's take it this way. So if I was oh no, here's a really good example that I actually experienced as a kid. So we had to write this assignment on a TV show on cable.
Yeah.
Right? And then one of my classmates was like, I don't have cable. So it disqualified you automatically from getting an A, because you can't actually participate unless you have cable. So you are excluded from our in-group. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Right? So it's but that's just how society's structured. Unless we make sure he has equal access to cable or whatever, but then how would you profit? You know? I need to set it at a specific price point to make sure that I make money and my investors make money. But in doing that, you kind of disqualify other people from that segment.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say is at its core, capitalism is based off of inequality. And yet we're pursuing equality. But it's impossible unless we get rid of the system that we're in.
I don't know, because I don't think the world isn't I don't think a country is 100% capitalist, right? They have social structures.
Okay, explain. What do you mean?
The social structure is supposed to help people.
Supposed to help people.
Yeah.
So then why are there people who can't afford things?
Yeah, I'm not saying everything is solved, but okay, yeah, for sure.
Social
structures, and you whatever, you keep adding to it or whatever, yeah.
Okay.
In order to build a better society. Yeah.
But, okay, so then how do you add to it?
By laws or... Yeah.
Money. You subsidize. Laws
Yeah.
subsidize.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
You're like laws.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, but it comes down to money, so the law will subsidize you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you subsidize the person, then you make less money off of your product. Because...
Why are you making less money from your product?
So...
You're getting the coverage from the government.
But then they lose money.
Who loses money?
The government. Somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah, we're paying it through taxes.
So then other people are paying for this thing.
For everyone in the society to grow.
So then if you need to pay more money to it, what does the company need to do? Pay you more money.
Well, what do you mean?
If we all work.
Yeah.
We all work and...
Pay who more money? The worker?
The company needs to pay its employees more money in order to afford these taxes that they have to pay.
Okay.
Like, okay, you're like, okay, we're going to subsidize everything. So taxes are now going to cost triple the amount. If our income doesn't support the tax system, then we're all going to be done for. We can't pay for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So even though this idea of like sharing the wealth is like what we'd want, it'll always come back to equalizing itself out in a way that it'll always be unequal.
Yeah, that's how Sweden works, right? They have it's a capitalist social structure, right?
Okay.
It's the same way.
But it's not equal for everything.
What do you mean?
So everything's equal there? So everyone can afford everything that another person can afford?
I don't know about all that.
No, that's not true. That's impossible. Like, it's actually impossible. Like,
yeah, so I don't know what kind of coverage they have for people that...
So they have some coverage. But what I'm saying is like, it's still innately based off of capitalism.
Yeah. I don't think everyone can afford everything, right? As long as the basic needs are being met of the individual. That's what the main focus is. Yeah.
What you said, not everyone can afford everything. And that is...
Really, I can't afford a yacht.
But that's inequality. But we're striving for equality.
Yeah. Well, what does equality mean? I guess that's the question. Does it mean equal opportunity to get up in society, or like equal opportunity to buy the same things?
But in order to get up in society, we need to have access to the same things you have access to.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So like, are they subsidizing them for the education? To be able to go up.
But education is like one piece of it. You can be the most smartest person in the world, but you don't have the connections.
Sure.
Right? So I need to get into the yacht club in order to make the connections. If I go into the yacht club, people are like, oh, I really like him. Hey, let me give you a job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I can't get into the yacht club because I don't have the money for the yacht or the membership fee.
Okay.
So that right there creates inequality. So it's like when you're like, oh, equal for what? It's like, but we all... There are invisible gates that we need to enter through. Like, it's not just about money and education.
Yeah.
Right? It's about connections.
Yeah.
Right? But how can you build those connections if you don't have the money to get into those places that require connections? Mm-hmm. You know? So that's what I mean. Like, inherently, it's impossible to achieve equality because of the system that we're in, because the system's all about inequality.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, from your perspective, yeah.
So what do you mean though? Like, because you're like, from your perspective, so I'm like, what's your perspective?
No, I think that...
So you think that it's possible to achieve full equality?
I don't know what equality means. So does everybody need a PS5? Or does everybody need clean drinking water?
Okay, so you're basing it off basic needs.
Yeah, it depends. Like, are we looking at material structure as for society, or are we talking about like...
But you need material structures for society. Like my example of cable. It's like, no, but you have food and water, bro. But I can't do the assignment because I don't have cable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you don't get this assignment. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So then that's the inequality of the system.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you basing your equality off of? I'm saying equality is like everything's equal. Like, yeah, we all have access to the same things.
I don't think that'll ever be.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Okay.
Yeah. You're saying equality in terms of food and water. I'm like, okay, but that's so basic. Like a homeless person has food and water.
Mm-hmm.
So you call it equal? No, you don't have a home, bro.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. What do we mean by equality, right?
Equal access to everything. Like but that's what people want, right? That's what the whole movement is for. It's like we should all have things, equality, diversity, equity, inclusion. We want equal access to everything because we all want the opportunity to build ourselves back up.
Okay.
So it's like, but fundamentally, we can never do that because there are clubs that we can't join.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't join those clubs, you can't get those jobs.
Right.
And if you can't get those jobs, then it's like you're kind of stuck in your middle class, upper class, or lower class, whatever tier you're in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, imagine if, like, you right now, if, like, you like, the only thing stopping you from getting $1 million job is you don't know this one person.
Okay.
Right? Like, imagine this one person's like, I have a multi-million-dollar company, and because we don't run off of meritocracy. Our society isn't built off of what you've done. It's built off of, like, who you know.
Who you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like, even I'll give you so I listened to so many like business stories, and the reason why they got rich is because like they were able to secure loans.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You need funding, VCs. But how do you get the VCs? Like the Canva person, she wanted to join a VC meeting, but it was like a kite surfing only. So the only way you can join the VC meeting is if you knew how to kite surf. So she told everyone, I know how to kite surf.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like learned how to kite surf on the side. So it's like, that's unequal access. You can't join this unless you know how to kite surf. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like this, like equality is an illusion.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? You agree?
Yeah.
Because we can, it's impossible to make everything equal.
Mm-hmm.
Because our system runs off of inequality. Right? Does it make sense?
I just don't understand that the system runs off inequality. What?
No, all right, sorry.
Government system?
Every system. Like, because they put us into boxes. If the box itself creates inequality. If there were no boxes, if everyone's like human, like Bruce Lee was saying, like we're all just human.
Yeah.
Then we wouldn't have to worry about this. It's like, oh, you're hungry? Yeah, here's some food. Oh, you want this? Here you go, right? But in order to operate society, we have to structure everyone into boxes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have labels like BIPOC, 2S LGBTQ+, you know what I'm saying? Like cisgender, upper class, lower class, black, white, like all these little labels.
That's what I think I said this as a kid too, where it's like, no, I'm just a citizen of the earth.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm not anyone. Yeah. I'm not a nationalist. I'm not
right. And that's why it's funny to watch the Bruce Lee interview, because when he was trying to tell, like he was on live television, this is actually called The Forgotten Interview. So I think maybe they didn't air it or something, but he was trying to like say these things to people and they cut him off super quickly. Like at the end, like he was saying something so profound and they're like, that's all the time we got for. And I was like, what? But he was just tapping into something like, but I think like they knew that they can't have this.
Well, I don't know if we know if they knew that.
No, I don't know. We don't know for sure. We'll never know their motives, but it is disruptive to think in terms of universal humanity, seeing us all as people.
Okay.
Right? Like,
I don't know who's trying to do that. Like, isn't that
society itself? How can you have a boss? How can you have a boss if you're like, oh, we're equal?
No, I understand that, but he was saying that we're all human beings, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we all believe now? Or
No. What they were asking was, are you Chinese or are you American? And he said, I like to see myself as neither. I'm just a human being.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And it's like, no, but we need you to tell us if you're Chinese or American. We need you to be in a box.
No, he was just asking. I don't know what the at the time maybe there was some tension between America and U.S.
No, there's like so much racism going on. Like like black people, like it was during that time. Like
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
yeah. All right, but what I'm saying is like, if we all thought in terms of like that higher state of realization, realizing that we're all human beings having a human experience, then society couldn't possibly operate in the way it is. Because I would feel bad. Like, if I looked at you as like a human, right? Like
you can only see them as others in order to justify.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, oh, I know you really want this, but you can't afford it. I need to create that separation.
Yeah.
It's my job to tell you I can't. But if I saw you as a human being, I'm like, oh, bro, I'll let you go. Like, I'll just give it to you for free.
Yeah.
Right? But if you kept doing that, society wouldn't operate. If I just gave all my money away for free, you know? Like we used to give free donuts away at the bakery, right? Like, but if I gave free donuts to everyone, it's like, then you wouldn't have a business.
Right.
But that's capitalism. I need to not make this equal. Yeah. Yeah. You like, does it make sense now? Like, you're like, yeah, or no, you think I'm like wrong in something?
No,
I just
no.
like to, like, the discourse is like, because maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. This is how I'm seeing it.
It was more like understanding the definitions of what you meant by equal. So we viewed it differently, right?
Yeah, you were thinking just like food, water, shelter.
Yeah.
But everyone's got that though, so that's not really it.
Well,
Equality
everyone.
is like,
That's what I'm saying. This society has that, but not every society has that, right?
but I'm saying like the movement towards equality, like seeing everyone as human beings. We cannot see everyone as human beings. We need to see you as a number, as a resource. We need to see you as a resource.
Yeah, or like, yeah, in other sense.
Great example. Why do I have sick days? Dude, if I'm sick, I'm sick.
Yeah.
But you're a resource, bro. I need you to work at this time. I don't care if you're sick, you gotta work.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, what equality? Like, I need to treat you as not human.
Yeah. That's what again, it depends on the governments that you're picking, right? So like us moving to 3-week
No, but even
vacations
still,
wouldn't be possible. Like I'm saying like a business, if
no, but even if you chose a specific government, because everything's a case by case scenario.
No, I understand, but I'm saying that a business isn't necessarily looking out for you, right?
No,
They're looking, a
But
business.
that's capitalism.
A business itself is just looking out for profits. So that's where the government comes in.
Okay. Yeah, but
That's what I'm saying. It's a mix of those two.
But there'd be no government without business, because business is what fuels the government. GDP is business.
Yeah. So, but also it's like if everybody's getting sick and they can't work, that's also it affects, right?
No, for sure. No, what I'm saying is like,
I'm saying they mix they're supposed to be mixed together.
no, right. You're thinking that the cure-all for capitalism is government, right?
For all of capitalism? Yeah, like socialism structures, yeah.
Okay.
But socialism structures can only come from government.
Okay. But the government relies on business, which is capitalism, in order to create GDP.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, that's why I'm saying that the government relies on, that's why even the government is a capitalist system, because it needs capitalism to survive. There'd be no country without capitalism.
Yeah, you need both, yeah.
Right. And if you need both, you look at the lowest common denominator, which is capitalism. That's how we're running our system. That's how we're running our day to day.
Okay.
So it's like the whole system is a capitalist system. Right?
But the economy system is capitalist,
What?
Economy system.
Which is a government. Like, economy is government, right? It's tied into it. You can make laws. You're like, oh yeah, I'll just make laws. But then if you make these like human-centric laws that are crushing businesses' ability to make money, then your country won't last very long.
Well, it's like, again, it's like having 7-day work week. Now we have 5-day work week, right?
But why do I have to work at all?
No, I'm just saying those 2
that's actually
days.
a question.
No, but you're saying those 2 days that they had off is going to crush companies?
2 days? What 2 days? No, I'm saying equality.
weekend.
Equality. Equality
Yeah.
would be like, why do I need to work at all?
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it should just be provided for me. We're all equal.
What do you mean? What's provided for you?
Everything I ever want.
Okay, well, that's never gonna happen.
Right. That's what I mean. It's
Yeah,
like,
okay.
yeah, but that's equal. Like, equality is
No,
like,
that's not the system we live in. Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Equality is like asking for something without giving anything back. It's like if you
But
give
I understand what you're saying.
equality-
Okay, I understand. But I don't think that doesn't work in any society or any.
and that's my point.
Okay.
That's my point. It's like you can't possibly have an equal.
It's always a give and take, right? So even for hunting, you have to go out and hunt.
Yeah,
You could risk getting injured, but you have to go out and hunt.
exactly. So
Yeah.
what equality? Like that person needs to, by our nature, by our system, like we are unequal.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I mean. Like this whole idea of like looking at human beings as all equal, like Bruce Lee was saying, it's like, but we're not equal. Like this is an.
Oh yeah.
idealistic-
Okay. Okay. It just depends what you mean, like when you're saying equal, right? Like we're all human beings. That is correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
but then that's dangerous because then it's like, if I look at you and I try and make up for your shortcoming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's putting it's kind of putting everything at risk because it's like, let's say you have no leg and I'm like, oh, you can't hunt, I will just give you food.
Yeah.
And the other person's like, oh, I'm tired today, why can't you just give me food? Like, it's like the bakery example.
No, but
give you
yeah,
free donuts.
that all comes down to. I feel like that's like very innate. That's that whole fairness aspect. Because even like that experiment on the monkeys, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We gave
Giving the
him
grape
olive.
for one guy and giving him a cucumber.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
He's like, what the hell, bro? I want the grape.
yeah, I want the grape.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just innate in us.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like that higher level realization of Bruce Lee being like, we're all equal. You can't operate a society like that. And I feel like that's why they're trying to silence him quickly because I was like, that's too radical of an idea,
Sure.
you know? Actually, it happened in the 60s too. Like John Lennon, he did like a protest where it's like, don't leave your bed. That was the protest. So like everyone didn't go to work. They just like hung out
Yeah.
in their homes all day and it kind of like disrupted the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, then they label him as dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But like, it's dangerous because we need people to work. We need them to be resources.
Sure.
But when you look through the lens of like higher order thinking of like, we're not resources, we're people,
Mm-hmm.
then that kind of kills the system.
Yeah. So what was the point of John Lennon doing that, right?
He
Like
didn't
what
want
is
the war.
Sorry?
He didn't want the war or something
Okay.
like that. It's like, yeah, true. But I mean, like, that's true too. It's like, yeah, I'm killing my fellow human being.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't live in a society like that. We need inequality.
Mm-hmm.
But it's killing us. It's the trauma. That's
Right.
To go back to Gabor Mate's thing. Yeah, fucked up. Oh, I can't really spoil that. Because it was messed up. So it's like, oh, this is so bad.
Well, it's relative what's bad and good. It's just how we are designed.
It's what you can and cannot tolerate. Right? It's like, maybe it's like not actually good and bad. Maybe it's like what you're willing to put up with.
Yeah.
You know? Because there is no good or evil. Like literally there's no good or evil.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Nietzsche and like look at the hypocrisy of history.
Yeah. It's what we create as good and evil.
Yeah. Or what, like to go back
We
to like,
view as
what we can tolerate,
Yeah.
you know, as like, that's good, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
For your level of tolerance,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Okay, last thing. What do you think of Beast? Because he just watched it. And I was like so tempted to watch it. Like me and my sister were like, let's go watch the Beast. And we're like, but the rating's so bad.
Well, what was the rating bad for? Is it like
2, like no 5 or something?
No. I mean, like why was the rating bad? Story or
I
like?
have no idea.
I mean, it's a very. It's not really a story. It's not. It's just.
a story? Damn.
It's a very simple story,
Okay.
right? They're trying to hit at higher parts of a story, like connection to his like dead wife and things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like a little bit of an interesting thing. I think what they were trying to do, but that's not the type of movie that it is. But it's just a very, very simplistic movie where there's a lion after them, and he's very good at or he's evolved to have some peak hunting skills.
Is it a ghost lion? Like, is it like a spiritual lion, like a supernatural lion? Does it powers?
It's kind of like what they're trying to say was like they poach. It starts off with the poachers hunting lions, and then this specific lion has, It's the specific lion has evolved in a way to figure out how to be a better hunter than human.
Okay.
So what I think, if you look at it, what they're trying to say is like our impact on the animal kingdom is then generating an evolution of them that will be better than like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to get at. Well, why this is
like
specific.
We're pushing them to evolve into like these, like super, like they
super
to survive.
Yeah. Against, because it's
sort of like viruses. Like when we have the injection, it creates super viruses because now they have to work harder to.
Right. So that's kind of the thing that they're trying to.
Oh, that's
was a bit saying it like that, but it was more for the action.
How's Idris though? Was he good?
Idris is always good.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
This is always good.
It made it look weird though. I was like looking over.
It's very
like, oh,
CG, and you can tell.
Yeah,
but
CG,
like in the beginning bits, there is some. You can tell it's CG.
Okay.
But overall, I kind of enjoyed it as an action.
Okay.
As an action kind of thing. I liked the scene at the end. Very, like man versus wild kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. So you wouldn't. Oh, would you recommend it?
Would I recommend it? It just depends. If you just want to have something,
Just fun. Yeah.
something fun for a night, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this one.
The movie we're gonna watch on Tuesday, I hear is really, really good.
Yeah.
The Woman King.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sunshine was saying that on the news, they don't usually give out scores higher than like 2, typically. But this one
On news?
Yeah, there's like some rater that she always watches for movies. I don't know. He's like on CB24. He always watches the movie and then he'll give his rating.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
for this one,
I'm sure he's given more than higher than 2. Come on.
no, it's rare. It's rare. It's like
Okay,
most of the
okay.
time it's usually like.
Well, for
a
this
2.
guy, specific
yeah,
guy.
He's like super hard to
I
please.
got you. Okay.
She's saying because she watches them all the time. Like every time we were gonna watch a
Oh,
movie, she's like,
okay,
oh,
okay.
he rated this. I'm like,
Right.
Also, I don't even know who that guy is. So like, whatever. But apparently, he gave.
But we
it-
don't. I don't know if we necessarily always agree with the viewers or
No,
the
totally, yeah,
the
for sure.
reviewers. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, but totally. I
anyways,
agree.
yeah.
But
So he's given it a high score.
he gave it 4 out of 5. So essentially, she's really excited. She's like, "Whoa, this is like the highest score she's
But
ever
did
seen."
he? But it's like this. Did he give like a good high score to like the Green Knight and things like those artsy movies?
True. Yeah, I guess so.
Like did he
I
like?
don't know.
That's generally what happens, right? The critics
Yeah,
give a very good review for these artsy movies, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's true. Will you check out the IMDb? Check it out right now. What's the IMDb? I'm a little scared.
I don't know if it's on there because it's not out for the public yet. Or did it come out this
It
weekend?
came out Friday.
Oh, it came out Friday.
We just
Okay.
couldn't watch it on Saturday.
Gotcha.
We could have
I'll
watched
check.
it on Saturday.
I'll check Rotten Tomatoes. Okay.
I'm really stoked for it. Oh, it's high. 92.
So the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes is 94,
Ooh.
and with 1,000+ viewer rating,
Okay.
99.
Yo. That's 99, bro. Wow. Okay, I'm excited for this. Man, I gotta watch it multiple. Yo, I'm kind of like trying to think.
Because
of
it's a historical thing too. It's a truth historical.
I might watch it twice. Like I might watch it today and then Tuesday. I'm kind of like, because I'm trying to figure out something to do with Tara, but like now I'm kind of like, oh, if it's good, and it's women empowered, she loves that stuff. So like,
Yeah.
99, bro. Okay.
There's a Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And the action scenes look really good too. Yeah, alright, I'm stoked. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way the Rotten Tomatoes work is generally if most people are giving a positive review, that goes to that person compared to negative reviews. Is a percentage.
Oh, okay.
Is a percentage of positive reviews to negative reviews.
Is this a long movie?
Good question. That's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
It's kind of long. Yeah, alright, whatever. No, I was just gauging it for right now. I was like, I wonder if I could watch it today.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, All right, I'm stoked for that one. And I like that guy, the Star Wars dude. The king.
John Boyega?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like he's become super like empowered too after the Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he got this whole new like African tattoo on his arm. Like he's trying to become like very, you know, outspoken and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm curious to see where his career will go. He's starting to do like more, I guess, artsy kind of films too. Like I think Star Wars rubbed him the wrong way. I was watching some interviews. Like the whole Disney vibe was just not for him. Like it's too controlled.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well,
like you can't say certain things. Like even that Gina Carano, remember she got kicked off of.
oh yeah.
Like you can't be outspoken for Disney.
Yeah. Well, they have a certain
Standard and stuff.
standards for their actors to be,
Yeah,
if they want to be part of their, money machine. So.
true money machine. It's almost like those those companies can't break anymore. Like you make so many
Yeah.
like investments. Like I'm sure that they've made it so that if they do poorly on a movie, they'll offset that with another investment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. They have so many different venues that they make money through, right?
Yeah,
like
that's what I mean,
everybody's going to Disney World.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like
The merchandise. And
the
like all these
merchandise.
things,
They've set themselves up to be here like for a long time.
Yeah, I feel like these giant companies cannot fail. Like impossible.
And like they have to. They also have to evolve with the current time. So like Disney Plus or like
Oh yeah, for sure.
things like that.
There was a guy who does jujitsu. I forgot who the guy was, Tim Kennedy or somebody. But like he was saying that his companies pay for his studio, so his academy doesn't need to make money because like his other investments pay for this thing.
Right.
And I was thinking about like that's a small example, but like I'm sure big companies like Disney and like Netflix, like they probably do the exact same thing. You know, they probably have all these outside investments that ensure that they don't go under.
Right.
Well, I mean, unless they lose all subscriber counts, but like whatever.
I don't think that's.
No, yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't just have Disney, right? So they have the Stars Network. They have like
Exactly,
outside.
yeah.
They have so many different things that they've
Yeah.
had to branch out into. So
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I guess that's all. Actually, all right, in keeping with that, I did want to say one thing because I listened to MailChimp and I was like, this is really interesting. You know MailChimp, right?
Who?
MailChimp?
No.
The software for email marketing?
No.
You've never heard of MailChimp?
No. Oh, MailChimp? No.
MailChimp. CHIMP.
No.
Oh. Okay, never mind then. All right. So basically the example is that they made so much money that it was paying for itself that all they need to focus on is like marketing. Okay, this makes no sense unless you know what MailChimp is. But
Yeah, no, I don't know what that is.
Never mind. Basically, if you can create investments that pay for your main thing, you can offer like the best product because you don't have to worry about making money because making money is where everything goes south. Remember the belt thing I was talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you're desperate with the cash, it's like you make some bad decisions. Anyways, another podcast for another time. All right, final thoughts?
No?
What's the long one? I feel like this was a long one. It was like 3 hours.
This is 2 hours.
2 hours. All right, we broke a new
Wow.
record.
Okay.
All right, until next time. Daisy Fish.
Peace.
All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Fish.
Peace.